Hello, my most beautiful, amazing, wonderful kindred souls. Welcome to the next step along our spiritual journey. Today, I am going to do a month ahead reading. So we are currently headed into the month of November. So that means that we are under the influence of the angel number 11, or when we go into the month, we'll be under the influence of the angel number 11. But this is actually, more of a timeless reading. Whatever month you come across it, your angels will put it along your path when you're meant to see it. So if it resonates with you, no matter what month you're in, it still applies. But every month, the energy that we're influenced by, it kind of shifts and it changes, right? Because we go from, at the basis of pretty much everything at the basis of everything is numbers. If you know about numerology, right? Things are just made up of numbers, and numbers are energy. So every month we enter into a new numerological influence that's over us. And if you don't know the difference between numerology and angel numbers, the only difference is angel numbers are based in numerology, the same kind of energy. The numbers resonate with the same energy as numerology, but angel numbers come with a special kind of message or angelic guidance with them. So they use the energy of the number to pass on messages and guidance. So every month, the angels can use the energy of that month, such as going into November. This would be the angel number 11, right? So they can use that energy that we're under, how it's influencing us, to help guide us kind of along our path and towards our goals and stuff. So anytime you see this, even if it's not in November, you can see this, I don't know, in July sometime it might come along. Maybe you've been seeing the number 11, or maybe your angels are wanting you to be aware of this type of energy. So this can apply, anytime, not just November. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a card for each week of the month. So an overall card for each week. And then I'll do a card that is for some of the challenges that we might face that week. And then some of the strengths, or what the angels would encourage us to, the strengths and the abilities to rely on to help us get through that week with as much ease and learning and along our path as we possibly can. So 11 is an extremely powerful number in the world of spirituality. You've probably heard 1111 a lot. What's really exciting now is this is the only month, November is the only month of the entire year that actually carries the energy of a master number. Number 11. And master numbers, if you don't know, they're more powerful. There's only 3, 11, 22, and 33. And they kind of work together to create an even more powerful energy that represents our spiritual journey and what we go through in this lifetime. But I don't want to get into that. But master numbers are, they carry a lot more energy. And they tend to also be like a blessing and a curse, because their energy is so intense, right? It's such an intense energy that if you're not really able to tap into it or work with it or start to master that energy, it can actually have more of a negative influence on your life. So the master number 11 is about, making dreams come true. It's if you think about 11, it's kind of like, a doorway. And if you open up that door, you walk through into this other realm. You go from this physical realm of logic and rationality and, things making sense. We've got time, we've got space, we've got limitations, we've got those restrictions. When you walk through that door of the number 11, you're walking into a realm of spirit, a realm of imagination. It's like left brain, right brain kind of stuff. The left brain is the logic, the rationality, words, numbers, putting stuff together, whereas the right brain is much more abstract, right? It thinks in more images, pictures, the big picture rather than the details. And that's what the angel number 11 is. And it's like walking into the realm of spirit from the realm of the physical. So it's a very, very spiritual number. And it's also very much about dreaming, going into that realm. And especially for like light workers and highly sensitive spiritual beings, anybody who has a special mission, for sure, the number 11 is very significant, because it's really when you get to that point where you're ready to start walking that path and understanding spirituality, you walk through those doors, and that is where you have the imagination. That's where you dream. That's where your heaven kind of is, and that is where you can see kind of what the earth needs, what we need here in this lifetime. And it's a way of kind of bringing that little piece of heaven into earth. It may not seem possible because, like I said, it's not operating from the logic and the reasoning and all of that stuff. It's operating from pure love and positivity, optimism, determination, willpower, all of that stuff. So the number 1 or the number 11, it is not concerned at all with the reality of it. It's concerned with dreaming it up. What would make this world a better place? What is going to help with the ascension that we're working towards? What is going to help us along our mission and our path that we're on? So, when you get to the master number 22, that's the master builder. So that would be the one that actually puts those impossible dreams into place, figures out the reality of it. But the angel number 11 and the number that we are under the influence of right now is about dreaming. It's about intuition. So this month, one of the biggest things you want to remember is not only do you want to focus on your positive thinking, but your intuition. You want to feel your way through this month. Don't try to use like logic. Don't try to rationalize your way through. Just let yourself dream and let yourself feel your way through, because that is the energy very much that we're under. So this influence that we're under also tends to be a very independent number. You find that you might want to spend more time alone. You might thinking things through, processing things, but it's not just an independent number. It actually is the number of interconnectedness. 1 is the number of interconnectedness, and this is actually 1 repeated 2 times in 11. Plus, it's got that master number energy. So it's very much a number about tapping into that spiritual side, tapping into that collective. You're not alone. You're surrounded by angels. You're surrounded by spirits. Your mission, your passion, your heart, and all of that is supported by the spiritual realm. And that is a big piece of the energy of the number 11. So let's see what kind of specific messages the angels might bring to us for each of the weeks we have ahead. So one of the main things, I know we talk about this a lot, especially in law of attraction, spiritual circles, the need for positive thinking. It's everywhere. It's not even in just the spiritual stuff, right? It's like you go to therapy, anything, everything is telling us that we're supposed to, think positive, have positive thoughts. That's how we manifest. It's how, we do pretty much everything. So I know how saturated and how much you probably hear that, but that is really what the master number 11 is about. It's not just about positive thinking. It is about manifestation. You are under an energy of dreaming, not of logic, not of rationality. It's an energy of co-creation, of dreaming, imagining, and getting ready to bring that into reality, right? So what you think about and what you focus on manifests really quickly under this energy. It manifests quickly under the energy of the angel number 1. But when you bring in the angel number 11, it's manifesting super quickly. And when you see the number 1111, which is a day that is coming up, a portal day we have coming up, that is actually a call to make a wish, like a make-a-wish day. And one of the reasons that it works for making a wish, it's not that just randomly a wish is going to come true. It's because what you're thinking about at that time is just so powerful that it is very likely to manifest quickly and feel like that wish is coming true. But it's really your ability as a co-creator that's making that happen. Whenever you're under the influence of the number 11, it is a call to master positive thinking. So this month, focus on your intuition. Don't try to be too logical, rational. Go ahead and dream. Dream what you want. It's like new beginnings. I'm not sure my table is actually big enough to hold this whole month's work, but I think I got it there. But yeah, it's about dreaming. And it's willpower, determination helps bring that in. And setting goals is definitely a big one. Yeah. So the first week, our card is the 6 of Water. This is going to be the 6 of Cups in tarot, if you're familiar with how that is. These are, did I tell you this is the guardian angel messages? This is guardian angel messages tarot that I'm using for this. And so the 6 of Cups, it's like as this month comes in, it seems like we're going to be having, a lot of memories come up, which has been happening in those weekly readings too. The past coming to the surface, a lot of memories, old things coming up. And as we look at our challenge, so for that first week, the challenge that we're looking at is feeling like, well, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, all right. And then this is what I'm looking at right now. This is like our advice card, our strengths, what to fall back on to help get through the week. So we're starting out this first week of the month with a lot of memories coming up, memories from your childhood, from your past. You're probably processing and dealing with a lot of those. Now, some of us are going to be coming up with memories that support change being difficult, or that are related to depression or related to the ego, that kind of make us feel like it's holding us back. But some of us in this collective are actually going to be having the past come up and kind of being nostalgic for it, missing it, like the past was better. You're going to be feeling like, I wish it was still then. I wish things were still like they were before. And I think actually a lot of us going into this month are going to be feeling that more than having the past and more negative memories, or even more of shadows coming up. So it is actually kind of a warning not to make the past better than what it actually is, because we can do that. What looks like a challenge that we're going to face is what you're heading towards, the changes that you're trying to make. It looks like you're going to feel probably a bit alone in that. So you might feel like you need to stand up for yourself. Maybe people don't quite understand what you're doing, or they're not supportive of what you're doing. This is huge, is to fall back on your integrity. So this first week is not about looking for approval or anything like that. It's going to be more about listening to yourself, listening to your integrity, what you know is best for you, and standing up for yourself and fighting for what you believe in. Use your determination, your resilience to get through it. You know from the past, because you've done it before, right? So you know you have the ability to do that. And, that's one of the things that why this past might be coming up for you and why it might seem better than now, or what you're doing now, why aspects of that past might seem better, because they are coming up from your shadow, just like some of those negative thoughts and negative memories that we have from the shadow come up, and we're meant to deal with those and face them and heal them and look at them. Even when good things come up, it's meant to help us remember something. Maybe remember your resilience. Remember why what you're doing is important to you. So even if it feels like the world's kind of against you, and people aren't supportive of what you're doing, turn to yourself. Once again, we kind of go back to that angel number 11 energy, like I said, that can feel more solitary, because it's not about the other people in the physical world. It is our interconnectedness, that turning inward and touching in on that, the collective energy and tapping into that knowledge that we have and all of that. So rely more on that and those feelings than on what it seems or appears the outside world might be thinking. And the advice, our strength for getting through that first week, is the 5 of water, which is interesting because this is actually, this card even has milk on it. This is kind of a card that says there's no use crying over spilled milk. What happened in the past happened in the past. What's done is done. There's not a lot of point to hanging on to that. So going with the way the rest of the week is, those memories that are coming up, whether they're positive or whether they're negative, it's not going to serve you to cling to those. It's going to serve you much better to just turn inward, step through those doors, that portal of the angel number 11, into that realm of spirit, into the realm of dreaming, into the realm of believing and of positive thinking, of determination, of will, and let that past go so that you can enter into something new. You're not going to really be able to accomplish these massive goals that you have and these dreams that you have, or the healing that you have, whatever you're working through. You're not going to be able to accomplish that if you're hanging on to the past. It's kind of like a, out with the old and with the new. You've got to let go of some of that older stuff so that you can have room for new things to come in. So hanging on to the past, idealizing the past, or reminiscing about the past, or ruminating on the past, is keeping you stuck in the past. So let go of that. Tap into your integrity, your dreams, be willing to fight for that, to stand up for yourself and for your beliefs, and then let the past go. And kind of allow, like I said, with the angel number 11 energy, it's not about logic or reasoning or rationality. It's about dreaming. It's not about the limitations of how that dream can come true. It's about dreaming it up. And you can worry about how to bring that into reality later. Right now is more about the dreaming, okay? And getting through it. So let go of all that past. Don't let the past hold you back. Especially don't let it hold you back by remembering it as better than it actually was. Because that can actually hold you back more and block what you're meant to do next, or what's meant to come into your life even more than ruminating and being stuck on negative thoughts, right? So first week, work on being open to new experiences, being open to making impossible things possible, kind of childlike, unrestricted imagination, allow it to happen. And then into the second week, and so we're starting out with the Ace of Earth, our challenge, the Queen of Fire, and the Strength advice is the Emperor. So something new is coming, a new opportunity. Very in line with the energy that we're talking about with that angel number 11, because it's an ace, right? So it's a beginning. Something is beginning. So new opportunities might come in. You might feel like you want to learn something new, start something new, that kind of stuff coming in. Pay attention to opportunities, especially once you've worked on letting go of those memories the week before, standing up for what you believe in, actually caring about yourself and your integrity more than what other people are thinking or saying about you, right? Now you want to be open more to seeing opportunities coming in. Opportunities for abundance, opportunities for learning, resources, feeling more grounded, feeling more stable, more secure, that kind of stuff. And so the challenge we have going is the Queen of Fire. So you might find that you feel maybe a little bit of a lack of motivation, maybe a little bit tired, or, you might see these opportunities, but you don't really know how to put them into place or to make it happen. And so your passion, your drive, your motivation might feel a little low or blunted or blocked. So our advice for working through that for the strength is I showed you that, but the Emperor card, which is going to be about actually kind of a bit different. So I'm thinking the second week is where some of that challenge of this very strong master energy is coming in, of this master number 11 is coming in, because it carries as some of its warnings or the curse aside, but what the angels will put this number along your path as a warning is if you're being too much of a perfectionist. You're like trying to make everything perfect, and what you end up doing instead of accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish is you self-sabotage. So take a step back, from thinking so much and get organized. Okay. That's also another very big advice piece of the angel number 11 is to set goals. And it's not setting goals like I have this big, huge goal out there that is like, I don't know how I'm going to attain it because it's so big. The angel number 11 calls us to break down the steps, the pieces, and put those goals into place. So that's, I think, seems to be what that second week is going to be about. There's a lot of opportunities coming in. There's a lot of ideas coming in. It might feel pretty exciting, but new. So it might feel a little too much out there. Like, how can I possibly make this happen? And then you feel a lack of motivation. So take a step back, get organized, maybe clean up your environment around you. You know how your external world is like a reflection of your internal world. Get things organized and break down your bigger goals into smaller, actionable steps. Smaller, the better. And then just start taking those steps one at a time. And then All right, going into the third week or towards the end of the month. Okay. Towards the end of the month, we have the Nine of Air. And so that is anxiety, some sleepless nights, a lot of worry. So, even as you're putting all of these plans in place, trying to be positive, trying to have those positive thoughts, master that positive thinking, here comes this week that's probably going to challenge you. Something might happen that brings in this worry and this negativity and this doubt. But it's not going to be like something bad happens and it messes up your progress or anything. It's going to be more like, maybe some more of those memories are coming back from the beginning of the week and you're just stressing about them, very anxious about them. It's just starting to get to you, which kind of sounds like a challenge. But what the challenge that we'll be facing is about balance. So, definitely prioritize. What you're worried about are thoughts that may not actually be entirely accurate. So, make sure when that starts to come up, you're going to want to be working on that balance between thoughts, between feelings. Remember too, under the influence of the angel number 11, it's not about the thoughts and the logic so much. You need to think your way. It's not thinking your way through this month. It's going to be more about feeling your way through, listening to your heart, trusting your intuition, tapping into that inner connectedness, your inner wisdom, and following that. So the challenge is going to be being able to do that, fighting between your heart and your head, basically. So the strength that we'll have for getting through the week that we want to fall back on is definitely being grounded. So that is actually a very interesting thing to bring up too, as we're under the energy of the angel number 11. It is more abstract and it's very spiritual. So whenever this master number energy is in your life, it's so important to make sure that you're staying grounded. You can visualize that light coming in, that heavenly spiritual light coming in from the angels, but also make sure it goes all the way through your spine, goes out the bottom of your spine and connects to the earth. It keeps you firmly planted and grounded. Otherwise, doing a lot of spiritual work without being grounded can really cause a lot of anxiety. And that is what this card is about this week, is some anxiety coming up. So, balance. Do not focus too much on thoughts. Balance those thoughts, those feelings. Try to have a little bit of fun. Get your priorities in order. And then really work on being grounded. You have the ability to do all of this. It's just there's a lot going on. This is a very powerful energy. There's just no getting around the fact it's a master number. I can't stress that enough. It's a very powerful energy of beginnings, spiritual beginnings. And we just don't have as much of that logic and reasoning and rationality and all of that stuff of the physical world that we're used to having. It's just a much more spiritual. So really being grounded, making sure, take care of your physical environment, focus on more of that, creating a sense of security, of stability, that kind of stuff, focusing on that within your house and within yourself, within your career, wherever this anxiety might be coming from. So as we go into the last week of the month, we've got the 5 of Fire, which is also another challenging week. We'd have the 5 of Fire is really, or the 5 of Wands is really about just feeling like everything is just against you. Like you're just constantly fighting and battling against everything. It can even just be small things, but it's like, what does it take just to get through this, right? It's like waking up and you stub your toe, and then you spilled toothpaste on your shirt when you're brushing your teeth, and then you're late for work that day, or the clock stopped, just little things like that, these constant battles that you're going through. And it may feel like you're not getting along with anybody, or people are annoying, or they're competing with you. It's just a lot of that competition, is of fighting through these little battles. So the challenge that's coming up with that is, this card is the Ego. So this is going to be very much about your thoughts again, much like the week before, but it's going to be some negative thoughts that are creating some of this conflict. So it might not be so much that the conflict is actually happening. It might be more that you're getting stuck in some negative thinking rather than the positive thinking, and kind of creating a self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing. Because once you expect bad things to happen, they start happening, right? You just get into that space and bad things happen. That is one of the problems that we have with the master number 11, that blessing or that curse. It's that positive thing, or manifesting what we're focused on. And if you get stuck in that negative thinking kind of cycle that this month definitely seems to be presenting to a lot of us, you start manifesting negative things. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's just that those thoughts, that ego comes in and it starts telling you this narrative. It tells you this story of how things have always been and how they expect things to go. And you're being challenged. We're being challenged a lot. This started last week with our reading. Then going into this month, there is a lot of challenge that continues to go through. And it looks like a lot of these challenges are coming from thoughts, and they're also coming from our motivation. So I think a lot of us this month are just feeling kind of tired, just worn out from the healing, from the work. And that stands to reason. And it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel like you need a rest or feel like you need a break. There's nothing wrong with that. Quiet, peace, healing, convalescing, all of that is part of the journey. It's part of the growth. It's part of the process. And sometimes it's in our time of rest that we grow the most, right? So don't forget that when these thoughts and these emotions and these challenges come up, be very careful what you choose to focus on, because that's the warning of the angel number 11. That is the curse that comes with this powerful master number, is if you start thinking negative thoughts, you're going to manifest negative things. Not because you deserve them, not because you're a bad person, not because your history says that that's what's going to happen. It's because you're co-creating, you're manifesting what you think about. So one thing you're going to want to remember with this ego card that we're talking about, where you might get stuck in these negative thoughts, is that they're not necessarily true. Always remember, a thought is just a thought. That's all it is. Go back to a lot of what these past weeks and this month were telling us: to be grounded, to be organized, get your environment around you in order so it feels supportive of what you're doing. So it feels supportive of you, support yourself, whatever that takes. Make sure you're eating good too. Drinking plenty of water, supporting your physical body. When you're doing that, it's going to make it a lot easier when these kinds of thoughts and that ego comes up and tries to hold you back. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to say, a thought is just a thought. Just because I'm having this thought doesn't make it true. I don't have to ruminate on it. I can choose to ground myself. I can choose to think about something else. I can choose to turn inward to my inner connectedness, to my inner wisdom, to my angels, to my integrity, all of that. And I can get through this negativity. Also, with the angel number 11 energy, it's always useful to fall back on creating goals, breaking down big dreams and big steps, big goals into smaller actionable steps that you can take, and really kind of planning out those goals, making your dream, that dream that might seem impossible, putting it into, I can make this one step, I can do this one thing, and then I can do the next thing. And that adds up to creating things that might seem impossible to begin with, right? We can do that. And so our strength and the advice for that week is the Knight of Fire. And that is falling back on your heart, your desires, your passion, your confidence, what you know in your heart and soul, what you want and what you're meant to do, regardless of what the rest of the world says, regardless of what your ego says, regardless of what your past, your memories, and your own thoughts may say, right? Regardless of all of that, your confidence, your passion, your desires, your dreams, that's going to be what matters. That's what's going to be what carries you forward. That's what's going to get you away from those negative thoughts. Is And the thing about this card is he's kind of, shininess. If you can see, he's got some right here, it's like, it's a wand, but there's also some flowers. So it's like carrying a bouquet of flowers, and then there's petals falling all behind him and everything, right? So it's like a very happy, excited energy. Like, I have got goals and I'm going to make those goals happen. And I've learned so much from all of these challenges that I've faced, and I'm going to make it happen. And it's like you're carrying a bouquet of flowers, bringing a bouquet of flowers to yourself as like in celebration of what you're going to accomplish. And, just because you deserve it. You just deserve to have pretty good things that make you happy. And it's okay to want those things, and it's okay to have those things. And that is what is going to carry you through that last week when it feels like just everything is working against you, and then that ego comes in and starts to bring you down. Turn inward once again and listen to your passion, your heart, what excites you. Don't focus on what makes you worry, what makes you anxious. Don't focus on what other people are thinking or how they're making you feel. Don't focus on negative thoughts or if you stub your toe, don't get stuck on bad things always happen to me. Instead, turn inward towards your passion, towards your heart, and focus on what makes you happy, what gets your motor running. Just and focus on that, because sometimes I know about the positive thinking. You hear it all the time. You get told it over and over and over again, and you start to wonder sometimes, what does that even mean? You don't want to be fake, right, with those thoughts, because that's not going to do you any good. Because if you don't believe them, well, then that's creating a block as well, right? So this card would be talking about instead of forcing yourself to change your thoughts, which you may not believe or may not be true. It's saying to focus on your passion and focus on your heart, what lights you up, and think about that kind of stuff. And actually, that actually goes very well into the last cards I was going to do, which are some oracle. And I'm going to use this gratitude oracle. So speaking about what lights you up, what makes you happy, what gets your, what's your reason for getting up and going every day, right? You focus on that, which is basically, gratitude. What are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? Type of stuff. So what we're going to do is end off this reading with a card. Whoops, I had a couple backwards here. A card that's going to be a message from your heart. And then one that will be a message from your angels, or the angels, or your guides, spirit. And a card that is what your soul wants you to know. So what does your heart want you to know? What do your angels want you to know? What does your soul or your higher self want you to know for this month? Which I am thinking was good choice to have this be part of our reading with a challenging month like this. A lot of challenges. Also, there's good stuff sprinkled in there too. So if you can really focus on the good, listening to your heart, listening to your passions, what you're grateful for, focus on what you're grateful for. I know that's overused a lot too, but it's for a reason, it's just really important. And it's even that much more important this month. It is in January when we're under the angel number 1, but we're under the angel number 11 this time. And like I said, it's about dreams. It's about making impossible things possible, dreaming up how to make a little bit of piece of heaven on earth and how you're going to do that. So the energy fully supports you doing that through dreams, through goals, through passions, through your heart, through your intuition, through all of that. And, breaking it down into goals that seem a little more actionable and possible to do. So if you can get yourself to focus on some of that, even through some of these difficult times. But, like we had this advice card at the beginning of the week. There's no sense crying over spilled milk, guys. There's no sense dwelling on thoughts that come up, dwelling on the past that comes up, dwelling on any of it. It's not going to serve you. You're better off focusing more on what this last card was giving us advice to do. Focus on your passion. Focus on what lights you up. Go buy yourself some flowers and give them to yourself simply because you deserve it. Because, flowers are pretty or something that makes you happy. It doesn't have to be flowers, obviously. Do something for yourself. Buy yourself something or do something. Go to a spa. It doesn't have to be something that costs money, obviously, if that's something that you are working through. But just anything that makes you happy. You deserve it. Go to the park. Take a walk. Go swing on the swings. Oh my gosh, I love going to swing on the swings. I love going for a walk with my son to our favorite park over here and just swinging on the swings like a kid. Do you know how fun the swings are? No kidding. But do something like that. Tap into that childlike side of yourself. The side, your inner child, the part of you that doesn't care about having to get up and go to work every day and do everything perfectly. The side of you that wants to have fun. All right. The message from your heart, we have security. So that is very similar to a lot of what we were talking about, is that also falling back on feeling grounded and working towards creating a sense of security and that strong foundation to build on. if you think about, even with the master number 11, if we break it down to the 2 ones, you know, that is about building a foundation, a strong foundation to build those dreams on. So that's why, you know, breaking down the goals into more steps, because it's the beginning, it's the foundation. How do you get it all started? But your heart, the heart of most of us in this collective, or whenever this reading comes to you, it wants to feel a sense of security. So you've probably been feeling untethered a lot lately, especially when these conflicts, these little conflicts come up, these big conflicts come up, you know, the past comes up, and challenges, obstacles, all of that stuff starts to come up. You're feeling like maybe not really being in control, not, you know, you don't really feel safe. And that's not good for your nervous system, especially if you have like a history of trauma, of abuse, of depression, of anxiety, and your nervous system is always, you know, tense and on the go. You don't really feel safe. So your heart is saying, you know, for one thing, what lights you up, like we were saying, the passions and stuff, but also that making sure you're grounded and really focus on doing what it takes to feel comfortable and safe in your physical environment or where you work. What do you need? You are important too. Don't neglect yourself, you know? Make sure you're feeling safe and comfortable and love and care for yourself. And the message from the angels, we've got solitude. So that completely goes with a lot of what we've been seeing throughout the weeks of this month. Is a lot of this is going to feel like you're on your own a bit, and that's consistent with that one energy that's part of the 11, right? Is that solidarity is that the word I'm looking for? But it's that solitude. I think that's more what I'm trying to say. But it's about that solitude, the independence, the kind of doing things on your own in this physical realm, right? You're on your own, but also turning inward to that collective where we're actually all interconnected as one. You have much more power and knowledge than you can even imagine if you can tap into that part of yourself. But this month, if you feel like being alone, it's okay. If you feel like isolating, it might be a lot of the energy that we're under more than it is you isolating. So some of that's going to be okay. Make sure you stay balanced, of course. You don't want to, you know, go too far the other way and you know, isolate yourself so much that you forget what's out there, because we're also being encouraged to operate from the heart. But, you know, spend some time alone. Let yourself spend some time alone. There's going to be answers, that imagination, that creating those goals, setting those goals. And really, when you're looking at your environment, like I said, are creating that stability and that security, do it for you. You're doing it for you. You don't need to do it for anybody else. Do it because it's what makes you feel good. That is what your angels are telling you. That is what your angels are encouraging you to do. Dream because it feels good to you. Listen to your heart because it feels good to you. Create a sense of security, stability in your environment, around you, and with your goals, because you deserve it. Because you're important. Do it for you. Not because you're supposed to. Not because anybody told you. Not because that's what the rest of the world wants you to do. Not because you're masking. You know, do it for you. And then we have your soul, a message that your soul wants you to know. And this is acceptance. You see, like, the rainbows, the bringing that bird in that looks kind of like a phoenix, you know. It is really time for you. Like we said, how much it's come up throughout the month, that not worrying about what other people think or other people's expectations, and just really accepting yourself for who you are, a beautiful, magnificent being of light that you are, colorful, beautiful, amazing, resilient. You've been through so much. You have, and you know that you can get through so much more because you've seen what you can do. You've experienced what you can do, and it's amazing, right? But it's time to really, like we were saying, what lights you up? What are you passionate about? Really letting that out and really discovering that what makes you happy. What do you need to do for yourself? And accepting yourself, accepting your inner child, accepting your past for what it is, so that you can let that go and not tie you back, right? But your soul is very much wanting you to tap into that true and authentic side of yourself and forget about everything else. Start your angels were, we just said, talking about doing it for you. Love yourself. Learn to love yourself. It's not as easy as it sounds when you've spent a lifetime potentially masking or being hurt or living in survival. And this month is going to bring some challenges, but to get through it in the best way possible, because it's also bringing some good stuff, not just bad. Like we said, don't focus on that bad. We want to focus on the good. We want to focus on the abundance that's coming, right? The being grounded. You had the queen. I messed up my card. You had the queen of earth. This was very secure, grounded, feeling safe kind of energy. The queen of earth, she can do everything. Her house is amazing. Her family, everything runs well and everybody's happy. And when problems come up, she's calm. She's grounded. She just doesn't really let it get to her. And that's because she's not doing it because she's trying to impress everybody else, or she's not doing it because, it makes everybody else happy. She's doing it because it makes her happy. It's what she wants, and not being true to herself. And that is what your soul is asking you to do. Find those passions. Stop worrying so much about what other people think. It just doesn't matter what they're trying to push you to, or what they accept, or what they understand about you. You're a beautiful person. You're a beautiful being, and you deserve all of the abundance and goodness that this month or life or this journey can bring you. And thank you so much for being here. Keep coming back every week. I'll do the weekly readings to help us get through each one of these weeks with a little more detail. And then I also post the daily angel messages every day, 5 days a week, to help us get through day by day. So once again, that angel number 11 energy, you don't have to take all of this in at once. This is just giving you a taste of some of the challenges and the strengths that you have to rely on going into this month, and how to utilize that master number energy that we're under. So as always, I am sending a ton of love and blessings and light and all kinds of goodness to you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for being here. Mwah.